adventure, intrigue, lost cities, ancient mysteries, and more on this week's episode of East10 Investigates. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the East10 Outpost. I'm Cody, and I'm going to be your guide into this week's exploration of the 7 Hermetic Principles. These ancient spiritual and philosophical teachings come directly from the scribe to god Thoth. Thoth was known throughout time under many different names and incarnations, but no doubt his other most famous was Hermes Trismegistus, of which the Hermetic teachings get their name from. This isn't going to be a character analysis of Hermes or Thoth. However, it is going to be a look at the spiritual and philosophical teachings which they used to help define the undefinable about the universe. Now, I do want to preface this video with a bit of a warning, because these teachings come with a bit of an esoteric stink, unfortunately. As you look throughout history, you'll find that every great and every horrible man has no doubt understood and embraced these teachings and used them for their own good. It's a defining link between every secret society as well. But these teachings are nothing more than a tool, and they were never meant to be used one way or the other. They simply are. So, like any tool, let us use them for good and for their proper use. And understand that there is a reason they say the pen is mightier than the sword, as these teachings have been used to much greater effect than any weapon. So hopefully you can look at these with open eyes and no preconceived notions, because they're genuinely a great companion to any spiritual, philosophical, or scientific view you may already have of the world. They're not meant to challenge or convert anything you think, however, meant to give you a different perspective on that which you already see and perhaps help you see things you haven't. So without further ado, let's take a look at the 7 Hermetic Principles. The first Hermetic axiom that we're going to discuss is the principle of mentalism. This principle works to explain the material and psychic relationship between all. The material world around you, what you can perceive and feel, is a mental projection of the Creator, or God. Once imagined by the all and brought into existence, everything is subject to the laws and principles that affect everything else. As everything shares the same mental creator, everything is unknowingly tied into a psychic umbrella, covering all things that ever were and will be. Some have the ability to tap into this network and even pierce the veil of it as what we know to be psychic phenomena. Through mastery of this concept, one can assert themselves through many planes otherwise inaccessible to the layman. The physical and metaphysical are connected through the mental. The second Hermetic principle is the law of correspondence. As above, so below. As below, so above, the axiom goes. This principle describes the relationship between what we can perceive and what we cannot perceive in the cosmos and in the quantum realm and in the actions of our Creator. Everything is expressed on a micro and macro level in a mirrored way. For instance, it is often said, if God is so loving and merciful, why does He let good and innocent people die in sometimes horrible and horrific ways? Using the law of correspondence, you could rationalize this by considering the good and productive flora and fauna you indiscriminately walk over as you go about your day. You didn't end life intentionally or with malice, but nonetheless you snuffed out productive life. Any scenario of unexplicable perceived cruelty or generosity by the Creator can be explained and seen with everyday actions you yourself do and in everyday environments that you encounter. Anytime you ponder an unknowable situation,
This axiom can be applied to help you understand that which could not be otherwise. The third principle is that of vibration. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. This concept, while being thousands of years old, is only recently being proven by modern sciences. Quantum physics theories validate this principle at length. On the quantum level, nothing is stagnant, and this is reflected all the way up to the cosmos. The difference between matter and even planes of existence is simple rates of vibration. From the mental realm to the physical realm, everything can be controlled and even manipulated through vibration. Through mastery and application of this concept, one can affect and manipulate the vibrations of themselves, as well as the physical and the metaphysical space that they inhabit. The fourth law we're going to take a look at is the principle of polarity. Everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical by nature, only different in degree. This principle expresses and explains the concept of there being two sides to every coin. A quarter is just a quarter, but it contains both a heads and a tails side. We know temperature as hot and cold, but they are both just temperature separated by mere degrees. Love and hate are a common and relatable emotion, which we have all most likely felt transmute before our very eyes at some point or another. And in that same train of thought, let us consider that if we are aware of the polarity of the all, the master of this concept can easily apply the knowledge to affect the degree of a situation they are faced with. Through the application of physical or mental alchemy, one can transmute the degree of any object or situation to the desired polarity. Now let's take a look at the fifth Hermetic axiom, that being the law of rhythm. Everything has rhythm. Everything ebbs and flows. Everything has its tides. Every pendulum swing to the right has a pendulum swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. This truth expresses the rhythmic synchronicity of nature and reality. With an understanding of this principle, one is able to identify the rhythm, work within it naturally, and even affect the rhythm directly themselves in both the physical and metaphysical planes. One can also avoid being caught in the rhythmic sways of people's feelings and actions, as others get swept back and forth by the rhythmic tide. A true master is able to stay solid and will not be subject to the same tides. The sixth undeniable law is cause and effect. Every cause has its effect, and every effect has its cause. Things we consider chance are merely incidents of undefinable effects. Cause and effect play out on every level between every plane of reality. Nothing can escape this principle, and nothing can avoid it. Consider, if you will, the act of throwing a rock into a pond. A ripple is created, which then goes on to touch and affect everything else in the pond. This effect is played out amongst all planes and is an example you can use to apply to anything. You throwing the rock affected a lower plane of existence. Everything was subject to the effect of your cause. True masters of this principle apply it on not just lower planes of existence, but their own as well. With understanding of this principle, you will not be caught in the ripples of others, but rather will be the one throwing the stone, creating the ripples. These are the movers in life, the doers, and everyone else is reactionary, just a part of their effect. And finally, we'll take a look at the seventh principle, that of gender. Everything and everybody contains both a masculine and feminine essence, though dominated by one or the other. On the physical plane, this manifests as one sex, but on the other planes it manifests conceptually. Now I want to say right here that this is the most commonly prostituted and bastardized concept of the Hermetic teachings. We see it being wrongly taken to places the Hermetic teachings were never endorsing, and it was not supposed to go. While everyone and everything contains a gender duality, it does not mean you should be physically switching between them. Rather, consider the axiom from this point of view. Earth is a creation of God, the All, the Maker, the One. We tend to associate masculine tendencies with God. But consider nature. Do we not refer to it as Mother? This is what the law implies. Only through mastery and knowledge of this principle can one truly view things from all directions. Can one create in the most meaningful of ways? And can one express themselves in a manner that's genuinely relatable to all? So, ladies and gentlemen, that was the 7 Hermetic Principles. But what is the real takeaway here? Well, it can definitely be fairly said that evil people have used them for evil purposes throughout history, but to deny yourself those teachings and those tools would be silly. No, in fact, you should be using, embracing, and fully mastering these tools so that you yourself can wield them against people who would try and wield them against you. No doubt there are forces in the world right now actively using these 7 principles to gain control over you. Because like I said at the beginning of the video, truly, the pen is mightier than the sword. So hopefully you've had fun today and learned something, and hopefully you'll do something with these teachings and maybe even dig a little deeper. I'll link to a video down below that was an incredible study guide for this video, and I would encourage you to check out because it expands on everything at great length. I would also like to thank my friend Matrix Memes for the incredible art on this video. I appreciate it, bud. But ladies and gentlemen, always stay curious, be indomitable, and no matter what you do, make sure you do with purpose. I'll see you back here at the Outpost next East 10 Tuesday for another episode of East 10 Investigates.